Hello everyone, welcome back to the 1975 Chevy Custom 10 build. Today I'll be actually cleaning the engine bay and spray painting it black hopefully. And we're actually going to be refixing and rebuilding the engine. We're going to actually be reusing some of the parts off the old engine that my dad got rebuilt for his C10, which is his is a 1969 Chevy Custom 10, but it got rained on and it was in a fire, so it doesn't work. So we're going to use some of the parts like bearings and stuff hopefully in my engine, so it'll save like a couple $100, and then we'll be able to after that put it back in the truck and then change out the transmission from a 3-speed to a 4-speed and then put that back in the truck, and then it'll be able to be driven, because right now it is totally not able to be driven. Totally took it out in the last episode, so that's really good. So what I'm wanting to do is spray this all down with degreaser and water, clean it all out, sand these fenders, everything up to here, and spray paint it with primer and black paint. But we do not have to get the inside of these fenders, because we're going to be taking out these fenders separately and sanding them down and using a spray paint gun and paint for these fenders. So now it's time to get my mini shuck back and vacuum out the leaves and everything that's in the actual engine bay and everything. So let's do that. Finally got all the engine bay and everything cleaned out. You can see there is no leaves anymore. Leaves got stuck in there. There's still leaves in this crack between the fender and the engine bay, but that's gonna be fine because we're gonna take off the fender and we clean all that once we get there. I'm gonna need to get new rubber. How old this vehicle is once you look at all the rust that's in there. Well, the only rust that's in there is really that. Everything else is mainly just oily, greasy grease and stuff dried on metal. You see, I think it's actually fitting that I'm wearing a Chevrolet shirt, and I'm actually working on a 1975 Chevrolet. I got 180 grit. That should be should just be enough to just scratch it up and not just pick. We're not trying to take off the paint, we're just trying to scratch it so that the paint would stick on it. Here is the old engine that was meant to be built for that C10, but it was rebuilt, but it was in a house fire and it's been sitting outside for months, close to a year actually. So we decided to save some money on that engine by using those bearings. Now these bearings are of course rusted out, so we're gonna have to clean them up. I don't know how we're gonna do that yet. We might sand it, or we might have to use a solution or something. As you can see, that engine's all rusted out. It could technically be rebuilt professionally, but we don't want to put that kind of money into an engine when we already have one that works. Plus I think that one's out of a Camaro, I think. This engine's actually leaking out some oil, but good thing we gotta put some more in there. This is made in Mexico. These are 10 over. So these are thicker than these. We'll use these. So we got the crankshaft in. We accidentally made a mistake whenever we already torqued down the bolts. We couldn't get these rocker arms in, so we had to unscrew them and then put the rocker arms back on and then torque them down again. We lubricated all these main bearings. It's 5 of them, and we lubricated them all before tightening them down with screws. We used gasket maker on the rear main seals. .002. Use some degreaser, washed off all the engine, and we're gonna spray it and wash it all off to clean it, get all the dirt and nasty grime off, so then we could get the paint on it, which I chose like an orangish kind of red, orangish red. We plucked all the holes, filled the holes up. We made sure everything and the spark plugs are all covered. Everything that's essential and should not get wet, we covered all that. So we're gonna spray it. It should look good the color I picked it. So those are the motor mounts that we're cleaning off as well. And what color are we gonna paint those?
Black.
We're gonna paint those black. So oh, got me wet. Oh.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go.
Thin layer of paint for the first coat, and then we'll have to go over it once it dries again, so that we could actually get the whole thing thick, so we could cover up these spots right there. I painted these parts black so it could go good with the rest of the engine bay, because we're going to paint that black as well. These engine mounts, you really won't be able to see them all too much because they're going to be in between the engine and the engine bay, but that's why we didn't sand them down that much. But we went ahead and painted it black, so if somebody ever does see them, then it'd be color matching. And we got these that are going to be painted, that have been painted as well. So I didn't want to go with the typical orange truck. So I ain't getting it painted the typical color for Chevys, the older model Chevys, where it's orange. I'm actually going to be painting it an orange and reddish color, so it's still orange when you look at it a certain way, but it's red whenever you look at it a different way. So in case I do decide to paint the truck red, which is, as of right now, I do, it'll match that, but also be orange for Chevy. So just finished putting the second coat on these parts, so the sun would make them dry them fast. It's really hot today, but I actually left the spray can, the sun, so that it would heat up the paint and spray the paint smoothly across the parts. What the engine looks like with the second and final coat on it. Or it's actually third, but I think it looks really good. There's barely any imperfections other than the texture of the engine right there. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't. The little imperfections that you might be able to see if you're up close doesn't matter, in my opinion. It's the engine. The engine ain't the main thing we're wanting people to look at. Well, we mainly want the people to look at the truck. I mean, the engine is one of the main things we do want people to see, but it's not like the main priority. We want that to be the frame and bed outside of the truck, you know? But the engine is a close second, I'd say. So here is some parts I left in my room. This is the gaskets, and this is also gaskets. It's kind of hard to see. Oh, yeah. So I got the oil pump right here. It's actually pretty heavy, but that's all we need. And the timing chain over here with the sprocket. And it comes with a little sprocket as well. Some more engine gaskets and the engine mounts right here, motor mounts. We got 2 sets of those for $10 a piece, and 3 cans of spray paint. So that should be everything we need for the engine itself, except for the black paint. That's also for the engine bay on the actual truck.
Finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest. Echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
See, all that gas material has to be off that. And that's another great imperfection in that metal. Or if you gouge it, you put that Permatex on that, it filled up any gap. So there's not no leak. But it has to be a precise fit.
Installing these bad boys. Whoop. I need that. Somebody's homemade that.
That goes all the way in the head, don't it? You got
Yeah.
space in there, yeah.
Right. Yep.
Get the bolt. Valve cover gasket, we tightened it down. Main thing is don't over tighten these because it's cork.
goes right here. Says this is number. You saying this is number 1? That's this one.
That's what it's pointing to now. Mark,
Yeah.
mark it right here, right beside that number 1 on the outside.
Let me tighten this down. And that
Double
don't.
check on things. That's the slide of the well, keep falling off of it. Just wait on it. We done got a minute though.
Uh,
There's the front oil seal and then there's the rear oil seal on the oil pan gasket, so we make sure we put the right one on the right one. It's just all pushed in safe, then when you get ready to put it in, you put no Permatex right there, put no right here, so it'll make absolutely sure it doesn't leak. Push it down right here, it's hard to see from that angle. Make sure that thing pushes all the way flat with this right here, on both sides. That slides underneath that one too, just like that. Don't take much.
new motor mount. Whew, that looks good.
So we just got back from the store. We picked up some antifreeze and some carburetor cleaner and some coolant and also some 10W90, which is actually 80W90 gear oil. But we actually had to pick up some 10W30 oil for the actual engine, whereas this 80W90 is actually for the transmission. Wait, yeah, no, yeah, huh? Yeah, I think might be, yeah. And then we got the oil filter. This was $5, cheapest one they had for the oil. We're gonna change that out, and then one gasket. All this totaled up to like $100. So.
I gotta put that bush in there.
We did it. Well, we did it. We finally got the engine into the truck after rebuilding it. It only took us about a week to rebuild the engine. So hopefully it should not be clicking and the transmission should not be rubbing. Well, I hope y'all guys enjoyed this video. Please subscribe and like. I'll see y'all in the next video where we will hopefully get the truck running.